So we do have some callers on the line? No?
And
yet. Once again, the phone number is area code 510-848-4425. And you're tuning into a Traditional Healers Forum from the four corners of the world. And we are opening up the phone lines for questions from our listeners. And we do have somebody on the line. We have Amy from South Berkeley on the line. Amy, are you there?
Hi, honey. How are you?
Good. How are you? Do you have a question for David or Teya?
Yeah, it's just a question about what does he suggest? Lately, I just am so full of anger and just with this, to as far as I'm concerned, logical sense of just not giving a flying F anymore about anything. It just seems like things aren't, life isn't fair. It's not worth it. And just a kind of feeling fully of despair. And I've tried modern medicine. There is no magic pill. And I want to feel like I want to feel like I have a will to live again.
Thank you for finding the courage to call in and give it a voice, and we welcome that. We welcome that here on this show. Bruce started it that way by saying that we all need a voice. And so in that arena of rage, in that arena of anger, where can we find a safe place for it where it doesn't become destructive? And so that anger can actually give you the courage, gives you the willpower to turn a new leaf, so that somehow how you've been living your life, you can say to yourself, I'm going to do it different. Or maybe in some situations where we've been so tolerant of ourselves, that inner anger can also be the catalyst for change. And so then that would be a positive, that'd be a constructive way. And I know in our men's circles, we have definitely some rituals and ceremonies where we, as men, collectively can create a safe environment for each other. And I think also that, in my experience over the years, that there are women who have the skills and the tools where they can welcome you in and provide that safe space for you to be able to get deeper into that. And I'd really encourage you to call Teya Valentina after this program and talk to her. Maybe you can set up a session with her, and the two of you can work together. You can find her at TeyaValentina.com. That's TeyaValentina.com. She'd be more than happy to work with you. And again, thank you for calling. And deep breath. You're important here. We need you. And so you don't need to do this alone. You can't do it alone. All right.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say also to Amy, is that we do care, we do love you, and you are not alone, even though maybe you feel that way. Now we have Elaine on the line from, excuse me, I forgot. But we have Elaine on the line. Are you there?
Yeah, from Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa, excuse me. You have a question for David or Teya or Rob or anybody?
First of all, I just want to say this is just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful program. I mean, the planet, I look at everything that goes on, I see just a bunch of hurt people that don't know how to let their hurt out, and so they hurt other people. And everything that you're talking about is so important, and to let that woman know, I mean, we really aren't alone if we allow others in our lives, and we don't have those barriers. We have the barriers to color skin, religion, size of house, size of waistline. I mean, you know how women are. I mean, if we would just drop those barriers. But the question that I wanted you to respond a little bit to, and I really appreciate you talking about the women. I was really upset when they maced those young women in Wall Street, and I saw that as a real sign of deterioration deterioration in our country when the police or the soldiers raping our women in the army, macing them the way they are. Once the woman is not honored, once they don't see the woman as the mother, the creator, the one who brings forth life, once that starts going, the culture really starts getting into trouble. So I'd like if you could address that a little bit and know that we just love you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing this wonderful show. It's so needed. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to address Amy and what is your name that's on the line?
Elaine?
Elaine. Thank you both so much for calling and sharing your voice. I come from the place of that the arts can heal us. We can heal with the arts and with each other and being heard. And my own story is that traditional wounded healer's path this time around. And so women, we need to pick up our connection to the medicine wheel. All cultures have that. Celtic, Northern Ireland, Northern European, all Turtle Island, we all have a wheel. We all have a circle. And I am so grateful for all the teachers that I've studied with that have supported me. But if you can connect to the elements, to the earth under your feet, and you breathe into that and say, beauty below me, and then you breathe and look up to the sky. And if we do that tonight, women, and say, beauty above me, and if together we take our hands out and reach for that sky and breathe in and open our hands to the sky and breathe in and reach out, beauty before me. And then breathe behind our past and say, beauty behind me, and those footsteps that I've walked, releasing the shame, the blame, all of it. And all we have right now is this moment, which is the center of the wheel. That's the center of the wheel. So we connect to the earth in one quadrant. We connect any tradition. I honor all traditions. Earth, water, fire, air, in the center, ether that lives in all things. So when you breathe in that oxygen, you breathe in the ether, the prana, the chi, whatever you call it, the universal life force, and you breathe it into your cells right now and into your brain cells, because guess what? They're rejuvenating. Science backs that up. They're not dead. So new cells forming. What's the new thought? Right now. Pass this on. Write down what we're saying. Pass it on to a few friends. Get it in your body, in your muscle memory, and be your own teachers. Hope.
And for the brothers out there, we ask you to come forward and to be warriors, be spirit warriors that know how to protect the sacred feminine. That we're brought here to be keepers of that sacred fire. And it's through that sacred fire the gateway to the ancestors is opened. We ask all our brothers out there to be in service to the divine feminine, not only within ourselves, but also to the women in our families, in our communities. And how is it that we can let go of our need to dominate and control? And how can we come in that softer way as a proud man with an open heart and say, what is it that you need? It is time that we put an end to the abuse that this Mother Earth has endured. We have to stop the horror story now. We have to build that new world in that good way. And I ask all my brothers out there to be able to do that.
We have Michael on the phone from San Francisco.
Hi.
Michael, are you there?
Yes, God bless you.
Do you have a question?
I love you very much. I think this is so wonderful. I never get this kind of energy really from the Christian church. and I go all the time. Here's the thing. I have the Spirit of God inside me, but I can't stop ignoring him. And I wonder if you have some kind of method of not getting distracted, of holding the sense of the sacred. There's something that's missing in my whole approach to existence. The grandfather spirit, or Alona, Willona, whatever you call him. He's inside of me, and I've got better things to do.
It's true.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that, I come from a traditional religious background myself as well, and it didn't work for me for a long time. And it took me a long, long time to discover a relationship with the sacred that was separate from the relationship with my father's idea of the sacred and his relationship. And I had to do that on my own, and sometimes in the dark, and sometimes it was painful, and a lot of times I felt lost and didn't know quite where to go or how to go about it. But I think not only for this caller, but Amy as well, that called earlier, is that somehow there's some piece of magic in telling the truth in the moment. That if we discover a place where we feel safe enough to tell the real truth, whether the truth is that you walk up to a stranger and say, "Today I'm angry," not at you, but I'm angry. Somehow there's some magic. I would like to invite Amy, just the act of calling in and saying that she was angry. Just watch yourself for a while and see if that made a difference or shifted in some way. If we're paying attention in a deep way, I think it starts to come out as long as we're paying attention. Whether we're trying to make a connection back with the sacred, as this caller's asking, I think it's all there, that all the medicine is there, that there's a place in us that remembers, and it's just the art of then being honest with what I'm feeling right now, telling myself the complete, painful, bitter truth, whether I'm depressed or hurt or sad, or whether I've covered up those places so deeply that I can't even begin to get to them. Part of the recovery for me was to begin to go back and speak myself the truth, and then begin to speak it to others, the real truth. Not the one we tell each other every day, but, the fact I could be angry one day, and that's what I'm going to feel today. I'm just being truthful for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's sort of brings us to that question that each one of us has to ask ourselves, and that's that: who am I? And am I content within myself? And if I'm not, then where am I going to get that? Where am I going to find it? And one of the best ways that I know how is beginning with those prayers of gratitude, and being able to maybe start a practice where you take it upon yourself to start doing, maybe, for example, a sunrise ceremony. And each time that your eldest brother, the sun, comes up, you welcome him. Welcome the teaching that he has to bring you today, so that you can walk today with a consciousness, not just as someone that has to go to work to 9 to 5, but what is in that? What is that ancient brother of yours saying to you about where you are, and maybe what you need to do with your life? And so there's a beginning step, that place of finding out who you are through the practice of gratitude. And we know that a lot of what we've been talking about tonight has been in the direction of what some call the shadow, or the darker side of life, whether it be depression or grief. But we also, in sitting here, I got this nice little light right here in front of my table here, knowing that, there is light we find through the darkness. Absolutely. There is a gift that we do receive by saying yes to what it is that we're feeling. And it's not something that you have to get, it's given to you. Maybe you call it earning the grace of God. I'm not sure if that's the correct terminology, but something happens by your continual courage to be honest with how you're feeling, speaking your truth, having a voice. Teya, go ahead.
Well, when you said that, what came to me in my own recovery from addiction and what some people say is the double or shadow, is a willingness to just be willing. Like, that's that first step, to be willing. And then in that, there is a grace of awareness, and the awareness is not always, oh, I'm aware and enlightened. It's, I'm aware and I smell my own, you know, that, wow, you know, it's right there. And just being with that. And to me, that's the will. It's like the willingness, and then moving into awareness. It's like a spiral. And then there's this flow of compassion, to have compassion for yourself. And then perception shifts. We see the world differently once we've dropped down a little bit. And then, in my experience, there's these moments of insight that come from something beyond me with a little I.
Absolutely.
And that's the wisdom. And I would say that, you know, speaking back to the elements, the first is the earth, then there's the fire, the water, and the air, and it's this beautiful spiral. Now, that just came from me moving and dancing. So women, men, create your wheel, create your creative arts, poetry, dance, movement, express it.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Thank you. That's really, really quite important to be able to express yourself so that your feelings don't just fester inside you. We have time for one more question from Chuck in Oakland. But I also wanted to thank you for your words about grief, because we did have a caller who wanted us to talk a little bit about grief, which can be very overwhelming sometimes. Are you there, Chuck?
Yeah, hi, I am. Thanks a bunch for this dialogue. It's really, really rich tonight. I'm wondering what any of you might have to say about the concept of scapegoating. I tend to have had some very unfortunate interactions with people who are close to me lately, where it's so clear to me that the stuff that they're putting on to me is really their own stuff. And just recently, I also heard a very poignant comment, and that is that oppressors, or in a larger sense, colonizers, always seek to usurp the beauty of those who they oppress. And I just wondered maybe if you could share a little bit of your thoughts about that concept. I know it's lengthy, but I would.
We'll go right into it. Francis is going to take the first chomp at the bit.
I like that comment you just shared about beauty being usurped by the oppressor. I mean, beauty is the thing that keeps us animated, keeps us alive, keeps us connected to what is important to the soul. And when that is taken from us, what we're left with is the tyranny of monotony. Which is, in other ways, that we enter into depression. When we are given insipid forms of entertainment, work that does not excite or ignite our passion, what we're left with is that monotonous existence for day-to-day life. And that is exactly what we've been given by the culture right now. So we are living within that oppressive system right now, and that desire for beauty, and also the callers all night long, there is so much vitality in your outrage. And if we can take that outrage and express it through art, through imagination, we can be delivered back into beauty once again.
Thank you. And then Francis, do you want to address that part of his call in on the projections, the scapegoating, and something that, what would be some words you'd give to him in regards to scapegoating?
It's a strategy. It's a technique. It's a mechanism of disowning responsibility for whatever is moving in the culture. We do it all the time. We scapegoat other genders. We scapegoat other cultures. We scapegoat minorities. We find some way to pass on the responsibility for showing up as adult men and women. So if you're finding that happening to you, make sure you step sideways. You don't want that to stick to you. It doesn't belong to you. And then find some way to affirm life as a response.
Yeah, it always seems clearly that that most often what feels most effective is to begin to step into. It's always a reminder for me to step into my own magic, my own secret. Like,
That's right.
this person is not. Some place is broken somehow, and now it's using this what Francis used as a strategy, called a strategy, and it's just a reminder to me to go back into my own heart, my own medicine, and be truly who I am, and not the person they're seeing.
Right.
I'd also like to chime in that observing, the other human being that is sharing, and that, it's what Marshal Rosenberg has said, a tragic unmet need, and there's scapegoating is a word, and I love finding definitions of things because we all have a different perception of what that word means, but observing it, noticing if there's a trigger in myself, if that occurred for me, and noticing if there's any place at all that I need to look at for myself as well.
True.
And then also, aikido it, just like my friend Francis said. Aikido it, move it to the left, move it to the right, but observe it, see if you can objectively observe it. Thanks.
Find the courage to walk away when you need to protect yourself in a good way. And so with that, we're going to turn this over to Norma LaBrava, and we're going to start buttoning up the show here. Norma.
I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing your words of wisdom with our listeners and having the courage to speak about the things that have really moved you. I want to thank our guest, Bruce Elijah, especially for his opening prayer, and Francis Weller, Teya Valentina, and Rob Allbee. I want to especially thank Marshal McKitrick for his music, and also for our supporters and sponsors, shopnaturallystoked.com, runka.com, Model Mechanics, Sage Lounge, 1601, and Flower Child Event Design. Thank you so much for being here, supporting us, and really just letting everybody know that we're doing good. And I thank each and every one of you for your support.
Thank you, everyone.
I just want to wrap it up here. And again, Brava and David, thank you so much for a Traditional Healers Forum from the four corners of the world. The next one coming up will be in December. That's Friday, December 30th. And we're going to be taking it live to Fairfax, California at the Living Medicines Traditional Healing Center. Again, if you want to contact or talk to David, you can call him at 415-317-7032. Again, that's 415-317-7032. And we'd like to thank again everyone for tuning in tonight here to La Onda Bajita's special Traditional Healers Forum from the four corners of the world. And again, thanking from the bottom of my heart both David Kukkola and Norma LaBrava for making this all possible, and everyone that participated here. I know Clyde's been here videotaping the whole thing. I'd like to thank him. And of course, we had people out in the lounge here supporting this kind of programming, and all of you that listened in. Now we're going to turn it over to the History of Funk coming up here with Ricky Vincent in a few minutes. We're wrapping up this month of September, which has been recognized as Latino Indigenous Heritage Month, and we're getting ready for Indigenous Peoples Day coming up on Monday, October the 10th. And this is the time now to get yourselves your tickets and from the Hornblower Fleet Fleet in San Francisco. We'll be coming out there, the crew, to broadcast live from the mountain that rises out of the sea called Alcatraz. Órale. So stay tuned here. You're listening to KPFA 94.1, KPFB at 89.3 FM in Berkeley with KFCF 88.1 FM in Fresno, Califas. Yo soy Gavilan Molina, saying gracias a Dios, thank you so much, and we'll be back again in December with more of Ancient Ways and Traditional Healers Forum. Cuvo.